Hello everybody, my name is Benji, and welcome back to Mindustry Exogenesis. Now, I was supposed to have this video out on Tuesday evening in accordance with the schedule, but I took an exam on Tuesday morning that took 4 hours, and it kind of sucked, and it, threw off my entire day. So, this is a little bit late. Yeah. I hope you can forgive me on that. In order to make up for it, I have installed a mod that was recommended by somebody in the comment section to save me a little bit of strife. And that mod is the Time Warp mod. So I'll go on ahead and I'll head out to the main menu to show it off here. It's called Time Control. It has a disclaimer saying that it's not intended for multiplayer use despite being multiplayer compatible, which I think is a little odd. But this essentially just allows me to fast forward or slow down time, and I can show that off by turning it to 1/8 the speed of time, which will be pretty good for cinematic shots of, defending against larger units, or even assaulting with larger bases and stuff like that, so that's pretty cool. This button here in the middle restores it back to the normal time frame, or at least that's what I can glean from it here. And then I can also speed it up to multiple times. Now, the issue with speeding it up so far and so fast is that it will kind of bonk the time calculations of the game, and it will not actually allow the game to calculate things at its normal rate, if that makes sense. So it does work, which is pretty great overall, but it does have its issues in that regard, so I can only speed it up. I've found that the maximum that is safe for me to speed it up would be where it's at currently at ×8. And you can see, the belts kind of have little issues, and I think that's just the calculation rate overall. My FPS doesn't seem to drop that much. I think ×4 is probably going to be a pretty comfortable rate for this, and the only thing that I'm going to use this for is when I need large quantities of items, especially in this phase of things where I'm creating launch zones, because right now I'm going to have everything launching from this zone. You can see here all the basic materials are being launched from this zone, with the exception of, copper and lead and stuff, right? We've got metaglass, graphite, titanium, thorium, silica, plastanium. I don't think we're launching surge, but we're launching astrolite, stellar steel, valvanite. We're not launching dupitium because we don't really need it. I could probably launch Altuxium, actually, now that I think about it. So let me go on ahead and do that. Launch Altuxium. And then everything else is just kind of being made at specific rates. And then for things that are super duper expensive, like this thing costs 27,000 Vanstarium steel, so I may as well just, use the Time Warp mod a little bit for that. Just save myself as a content creator a little bit of grief. But I will go on ahead and put a disclaimer and put some encouragement for you guys that I am still going to be attempting to fully optimize my builds and my space for all of my blueprints, including the things like the graphite tier 2 with the multi-presses, and the stuff like these silica forge kiln things. We're still going to be focusing pretty heavily on all of that and the optimization aspect of things, because that's what's fun about factory games. Now, to get into things a little bit more specifically here, what we're going to be doing today is going through all of these zones that we've taken over on Serpulo here so far, and we're going to be automating the export of different materials. So we're going to be automating the export of copper, lead, metaglass, graphite. All of these things are going to have dedicated production zones. Some of them will probably be combined, like the titanium and maybe the metaglass, or the titanium and the thorium. But things that require titanium and things that require thorium will not be exporting thorium and titanium, because they'll be used for production on those zones. So first things first, I have everything set to send to ground 0, which I think is actually something that would probably be a little bit unexpected in terms of why we're sending things here. And I can speed up the mod here to times 8, and you can see these import values going up faster and faster, which is super duper nice. Like, they're at 2.8 right now, and give it a hot second. It'll get to 2.9. Yep, there we go. It just skips to 3.4. And pretty soon, all of a sudden, we will have all of the materials that we need for the nucleus core, and we can place that down and have more storage on this zone. I think, at least. What's our storage here? I think our storage is just 4,000, actually, so we'll just go on ahead and do that. And then we'll be able to store more things as they come in, especially the silica. But the reason why we're here on ground 0 is, in fact, for the copper and the lead. Those are the only two things that are even on this zone to begin with. Just copper, lead, slag, and water. And yeah, the slag could be used with, like, the disassembler to get graphite and all the things and everything, but I don't really feel like messing around with that at all. Also, it looks like my silica is not actually getting sent, so let me head over to Tarfield and see what's going on. It looks like it's getting used for the surge alloy more than it's getting used for anything else. And then everything else is just taking in too much coal, taking away from our systems. That's the glorious thing about this mod. Now I can turn it up to... What's the matter here? This one's working now. Again, there's an issue with the mod with processing, the time rates of these things. So just beware of that if you're going to be using this mod for yourself. There we go. That should balance things out a little bit more. So now let's head back to ground 0. And there we go. We already have a lot more materials, and pretty soon we'll have enough for what we need. So we will be automating the export of copper and lead here, and basically all I'm going to be doing is placing down these laser drills up on these like top nodes, and then I'll just be pumping them straight into a launch pad. Now, the launch pad can have 100 items, and there's 20 seconds per launch, or 20 seconds in between the launch. So that would end up being 5 items per second, which means that one titanium belt can support 2 launch pads. So for every 10 per second of material that we can get, we can support 2 launch pads. So the pretty simple way of us actually doing something about that would be to have a set of 2 drills like this, with our 2 water-cooled things here. And of course, it's not actually going to show me unless I get some power going. We'll just keep it on ×4 for now, that way I keep getting silica imported. And then once the silica is imported, that'll all be fine. And yes, the power things do use silica, so that's going to cause a bit of an issue as well, but that's fine. Now you can see... Oh. Well, you would be able to see if I didn't forget about that. There's the incinerator. So this is 4.18 and this is 4.18, so 3 of these more than fills a titanium. In fact, actually 2 of these just about fills a titanium belt. So I feel like 2 fully powered laser drills is more than enough for us to just go on ahead, and then we can slap down this sort of setup and just do one of these. And now, with these, it is currently sending them to ground 0, but now, whenever I feel like it, or whenever I go into a new zone, I can just go here, and then I can select everything, and put it to a new zone, if that makes sense. So let me go on ahead and revamp this zone. I'm also going to make sure that we're actually getting silica sent here, because I'm a little annoyed at the fact that we're not getting any right now. And then I'll bring you guys back in once I have another update for you. Alright, so we have ground 0 all ready to go. I have plenty of power. I'm not really worried about that at all at the moment. We do still have production localized to the zone for all of the zone-specific resources, just on the off chance we ever need it. I don't think we're ever going to, because it's ground 0. But now we have the ability to launch copper and lead from this location, so we can go on ahead and put the copper symbol here, and then that'll just be really good to have. So next up, I think probably the next best place for us to head in terms of having resource creation would be Salt Flats, because I think Salt Flats... well, never mind. I thought Salt Flats had heat vents, but it doesn't really look like it does. Okay, so Salt Flats is probably going to be left relatively abandoned, which, honestly, I could probably do silica here, because there's a lot of lead. Yeah, there's lead, coal, there's tons of sand... So yeah, this will probably end up being the silica production zone, in all honesty, but I don't want to do that this episode because that's going to be a whole pain in my butt. Tarfields isn't really going to be much. Extraction zone is different than I thought. Huh. Let's leave that one be for now. I'll mull that over in between episodes. Frozen Forest is gonna suck. Ruined Shores, probably same thing. Stained Mountains, I think, is what I'm thinking of. No, it's not what I'm thinking of. This might be a good zone for the production of maybe osmium? I'm not sure. I don't know what zone it is that I'm thinking of. It might be the craters. Nope. Can't even describe the zone that I'm thinking of, which is a bit of a shame in all honesty. Ooh. What the heck is going on with my textures on this zone? That's weird. Respawn and see if that goes away. Yep, nope, it went away, alright. That's odd. It's not Windswept Islands. Biomass Synthesis Facility. This is the zone that I was thinking. This is the zone that I was thinking of having our graphite production. So let's get some... Oh, because I still had... I'm pretty sure I still had vulcanite processing on this zone. Yes, I did. Oops. Well, I didn't mean to do that, but that's going to have to get done anyway. So we'll probably end up leaving the power production on this zone intact. And then we are going to make ourselves graphite and maybe astrolite here, and we will export that to the next zone. So for right now, let me go on ahead, tear all of this down, and then get it restarted with a little bit of a boost from our previous zone of Tarfields. We're going to go on ahead and send this over to the biomass synthesis facility. And then I also added a little bit of silica production to Windswept Islands to ensure that we have silica productions at all times. And we'll send that over to the biomass synthesis facility. And this will be a whole mad rush that we do every single time, where we go to different zones and we launch different things. So let me go on ahead and just mass deconstruct everything that I can here and rebuild it all, and then I will show you guys the finished product once it is done. See you soon. Alright, secondary zone has been fully upgraded. This zone has a little bit of a problem on power, but overall I think it is a net positive. Just judging by the backup overall. We can test it here in a little bit and just kind of see what happens. But I ended up producing a couple of things on this zone, the primary of which is, in fact, the graphite. So every single piece of coal that's not going toward power is going toward graphite production, which is then being launched into its next destination. Then we also ended up setting up a little bit of, what is this called? Metaglass production. So we have sand, we have lead, all the good things that go into kilns for the metaglass, and then the metaglass gets sent off to the next zone. And then we also ended up doing valvanite because that's pretty simple, and that's just lead and copper. So that one is also going to wherever we need it to go. I'm going to go on ahead and provide myself a little bit of a boost here to our lovely kilns, since they obviously are struggling ever so tiny bit on the lead production aspect of things. Apparently that's fine. And then we can just route this the whole way around. Good old spaghettification base. And just do that. Now we can test with the mod. The ×4 seems to be the sweet spot. I tried it on ×8 and it just caused a lot of problems, especially down here with our heavy usage of the underflow pipe, or the underflow gates. And actually, I think the underflow gates could possibly be a problem with them having a feedback. Yeah, that's definitely what. So I might have to fix the blueprint on that. And it looks like we are good on the power side of things. Oh no, I see what it is. It's the distributors. Distributors are the things that seem to be having an issue. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I'm just crazy. You know, it looks like I'm just crazy. Power consumption does seem to be a net positive, ever so barely. Looks like our kilns are now working at full capacity, which is nice. They are fully consuming everything, and that is all perfect. So the next zone now that we're going to be going to is Overgrowth, and also I can go ahead and head to there, biomass synthesis, and I can change this icon to graphite. Cool. Windswept Islands will eventually be made into something, but for now we're going to go to... The reason why we're going to Overgrowth should be pretty obvious. We want thorium and titanium. Two things that are going to be the main objective of this zone. We're going to produce power down here utilizing this coal node and then whatever other coal nodes we might possibly need. We're going to harvest as much titanium and every single thorium node that we can on this zone in order to actually be able to produce everything and send those off. And then we are also going to produce astrolite on this zone because I did not end up doing astrolite on the other zone. So the rest of the coal can go to astrolite here. And then if we have any more leftover things, we could probably do stellar steel with the astrolite and the titanium input, but if we don't have that much leftover coal or leftover titanium or anything else of that nature, or leftover patience, then we're just not going to worry about it and not going to deal with it. So for now, let me go on ahead, head back to Tarfields. Get you guys launching to Overgrowth, and then Ground Zero I don't need to worry about yet. Biomass synthesis facility, get you launching to Overgrowth, and last but not least, this will also really Windswept Islands can get sent also to Overgrowth. That's gonna help me so much once I'm actually combing through the zones. Can't I also have a search filter? I can. But I cannot search filter by material. Sucks, but that's fine. So let me go on ahead and establish everything, and then I'll bring you guys back in, and we'll wrap up the episode. And Overgrowth has a makeover. My mic was muted when I did that, so that's fun. Power supply is currently in the negative for some reason. I can fix that really fast. Watch me do it just like that. I'm actually going to get rid of the top row because it's not going to do anything good for us at all. And then bingo, add some coal in and we're good to go. There you go. Power production, net positive. So this is pulling all of the thorium, which can actually support up to 6 launch pads, which is kind of crazy. It's got a little bit of titanium launching from here, a little bit more titanium launching from here, and then we also have astrolite launching from this coal patch. Pretty simple to set up overall. I'm pretty proud of this 4 belts of coal into 2 belts of astrolite out. I don't know if the ratios are correct. I didn't really do any math for this. I just kind of smacked it all together and said, yeah, it's good enough. So, yeah, it's good enough. But that is pretty much everything that I wanted to get done in this episode. Next time, what we'll be able to do, first of all, let me go ahead and put this down here. Next up, what we're going to be able to do, let me get my full tally of different things here. We will end up doing some of the more complicated production chains, including the silica, the stellar steel, the altuxium, which requires silica as an input. We'll probably end up doing some plastanium as well. That'll end up being on this zone, and I'll dedicate some production specifically to sending off plastanium to other zones. I don't really feel like Surge Alloy is going to need its whole, like, own thing for us to do. Jupiteum, maybe, and we could probably do that in Zone 133, which would be pretty nice. That's this one, all the way down here, which has a lot of ice and not a whole lot of... Well, actually, no, it has a lot more sand than I remember it having. It's just because of this little zone here, so... This might end up being the Jupiteum area after all. I don't really know. We'll kind of figure that out as we go along next time. So for now, thank you everybody so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. But without further ado, adios, sayonara, au revoir, hasta la vista, das vidania, evidizien, ciao, and goodbye. Please have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Get some sleep if you need to. Don't forget to stay hydrated. This video is in the bag, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Later, y'all.